Alrighty. Hey everyone, this is John Paul here from Click Laboratory. This is going to be our first regularly scheduled, I hope, live cast on Fridays. And I'm going to be doing my best here every week around the same time with common sense marketing advice that you can use to increase online sales and leads for your business, nonprofit, or ministry. So we are a digital laboratory here. So this is our first time using this new piece of software. So as a lab, we like testing stuff, seeing does it work. So this is supposed to be broadcasting out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and my LinkedIn page. So hopefully you're checking us out on one of those pages. And in theory, I should be able to see your comments too. So if you've got comments and they show up, I'll answer them here at the end. So this shouldn't take too long. So I'm kicking off with what I believe is the key to success in business growth online. No matter what your business what business you're in, no matter what you sell, it's going to be all the same for everybody. But there's one key, I believe, and all my 20 years of working with different companies on trying to drive their growth, this seems to be one of those common things. Now, it isn't the only key, of course. But if you don't do this, you're going to really miss out. So let's get into some quick basics. There are 6 primary marketing channels that you can use to engage with possible customers. There's paid advertising on places like Google and on your various social media sites. Organic traffic from Google search, of course. Emails to your customer base. Social media posts. Video on YouTube and social channels. And then there's referral traffic. Now, of course, you've got people coming in directly that know your brand, but what I'm talking about here is growth with people who've never heard of you before and are seeing your brand for the very first time. These are 6 channels. And of course, there are others, but these are the biggies that bring you in customers. So across all these 6 channels, there are literally hundreds of software tools and platforms that you can use to reach possible customers in each of these 6 channels. These tools come at different price points, but they're all able to drive traffic to your business or at least help you gain insights into finding more buying customers. But you must realize, these are tools. They're only as good as you make them. There's no magic bullet that any of these tools provide. They're tools. They're not a strategy, at least not without the work that you put into them. So these are just tools. And all of them can create traffic and drive sales for your business. And the issue and the key to success is not what tool or combination of tools you use. Every business is different. Every business has their customers are different. They perceive them differently. The sales process is different. But those are just the tools. But I do believe there is one key that works across all of these tools that will actually make them drive sales for your business. So the big key to success here, believe it or not, is simply knowing how the customer brain works. That might sound a little simple or like, but people make the majority of their decisions based on emotion. Scientists have known this for years, and digital marketing teams have really been taking advantage of this factor over the last decade. You see that in how these social media's platforms are really hooking people in. They're utilizing emotion and behaviors to really pull people in. So what you have to realize is the brain has has to filter through tons of incoming data constantly. We're being bombarded with more information today. We're way over what we were a few decades ago. And in real time, the brain is constantly filtering on whether something is safe for them or not. This is the fight or flight response. And it is the emotional response to your content, your message, that determines if they're willing to spend the time and the resources on your brand to dig deeper. So how does your brand make them feel? Do they feel you can solve their problem? Will they lose their job by working with you? Will they look good to their peers? Will their business and their family be safe using your product? Emotion will almost always win over logic, at least at the first step. Emotions over logic every time. The first time. As an example, let's talk about your homepage. This is where the vast majority of people are going to experience your brand for the very first time online. You have just a few seconds to capture the interest of your visitor. They aren't going to scroll down your page or click your buttons or watch your video or order your product if you can't show them that you solved their problem right away. So no matter how smart your customer is, the logic part of the brain is too slow to sit and think about what you sell. It's not how the brain works. The logic part of the brain is going to want to figure things out. But the emotional part of the brain, the gatekeeper of all of that incoming data, is going to look at your messaging to make a very fast decision on whether to stick around or not. So this is why emotion is so important. If you can't get past the emotional gatekeeper, the logic side of the brain will never have time to kick in. And your potential customer, they're gone. They're gone to find another business which can meet their needs emotionally. But if you do get past this emotional gatekeeper, you are much more likely to convert them into a customer, or at least start creating value. So I use analytic data every day with all of my customers. I see it every time. If you can get a visitor to stick around for longer than just a few seconds, your chances of getting them to convert go way up. We use a tool called the Grunt Test, which helps us understand how to get past the emotional gatekeeper. Why? Because again, if we can get past the initial response, that emotional response, they are far more likely to convert into a customer. I've seen this for small companies. I've seen this for huge companies. Okay. You may have heard of the Grunt Test. It's not something we created. The Grunt Test is very simple. And again, it's designed to get past the emotional gatekeeper so that people will want to learn more about your solution. And there are 3 questions to the Grunt Test. So let's picture a caveman visiting your website for the very first time, looking to get his very first haircut. He's all shaggy and scruffy, of course, and he's never had a bath. But the guy in the cave next door is getting all the attention because he has a really nice head of hair. So our scruffy caveman pulls out his stone tablet, does a little search on Google, and visits your website, looking to answer 3 questions. First, what do you offer that solves his problem? Second, how will it make his life better? And third, what does he need to do next? Because we don't want him to have to figure it out. You have to be able to answer all 3 of those questions all within just a few seconds. So remember, the emotional gatekeeper is processing the information, not the logic side. That comes later. After you've engaged with them emotionally, then the logic side will kick in. Don't make the caveman think. The Grunt Test, don't make him think. Because he doesn't have time to read all the material and watch all the videos. You have to explain what your product or service is. At least not until his very first experience of your brand. If you don't pass the Grunt Test, he's gone to a competitor website to look for someone who will. So, can you clearly get this message across without making the caveman think? It's harder for most companies than you may realize. Most companies' initial messages on their website when you first come to them and their digital channels make it all about themselves, how awesome they are, how awesome their product is, and how many customers they've served. When in fact, the visitor, at least rarely, cares anything about meeting their needs, cares anything except except meeting their own needs. They really don't care about the brand a whole lot unless you're like Apple or something like that where everybody knows the brand. It should be about them. Their messaging should be about them to pass that emotional gatekeeper. So remember, we're not talking about the existing fans of your business, but new visitors. We're focused on growing your business, and that takes new customers. So visitors engage. Lost the video there for a second. And so visitors engage with your brand when they think that you can solve their problem that they have and that they feel confident about the answer, solution, or product that they want. Remember, no matter how unique you think your business is, there are a lot of competitors out there that are just on a Google search away that are most likely just as good as you are. This means that customers are going to usually choose who they feel they can trust to meet their needs. The relationships. Remember, relationship selling is huge. Unless you're just like, okay, I want to buy a brand of toothpaste or something along those lines. But again, even there, emotions trump logic. Your words and the images you use, when they see your brand for the very first time, that's how people experience your brand and how they're going to become dig into your site more, or they're going to head out. So this brings me back around to my earlier statement that no tool is going to be the magic bullet which you need. It's all about the emotion which you elicit surrounding your brand to get the prospect to convert to a customer. So as I said, people engage with your brand through different channels, through email, social media, an advertisement, Google search, video, YouTube, or landing page. The thing that should be consistent across all of these is the emotional response which you create in that channel through your messaging. Can you solve my need? How can you help me? How do I get it? This clear emotional messaging should be consistent across all of your customer interactions. Again, all those tools I talked about, all those different channels I talked about. If your messaging is clear on meeting their needs emotionally right from the beginning, you're going to have a much greater chance of converting a lot more people into customers. All right. So you can do this, but you don't think you're going to get it right the very first time. Use tools like Google Optimize, which does A/B testing, A versus B, which one converts more people into customers. Google Optimize is free. There's plenty of other platforms out there. But you use tools like this to find out what combination of message and image works better to engage people and generate those sales. You may have to try 10 to 20 different iterations of it to find the ones that really get people excited. So don't give up. This isn't easy. Messaging can be really hard, but once you've got it, your sales are going to go up. I guarantee it. So if you take one thing from this, remember in all of your interactions with customers across all of your digital channels, focus on the emotional decision first, and you'll be able to sell a lot more. So if you don't already, you know what? Follow me on LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel, visit us online or anything along those lines. I can give a lot of advice, hopefully to help you out on what you're doing. And let's see if there's any comments here, because I've reached the end of this and hopefully this has been useful. So in any case, hope this has been great. I'm going to be trying to do this at 1 p.m. Eastern time every Friday. And we're probably going to start tearing down different websites. I'm looking at what the big brands are doing to see, okay, do they pass the grunt test? Can they drive more conversions? Where are the opportunities? And hopefully you'll be able to take that information into your business to drive up more sales. So that's it for this Friday. Hope to see you next week. For those of you that missed this, it's available. Hopefully you're watching online. I'll send emails out. If you want to subscribe to us, and you'll get this on a weekly basis. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.